Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of CookieCast. Today on CookieCast, the long-awaited return of the football podcast. Where have they been? Have they been playing football? No, there was people out of the country. It was very difficult to podcast when only 50% of the people are here. But now everybody's back, so we can talk football again. Yay! Before we get started, please do consider like, share, subscribe and comment. Leave a review where you can leave a review. Generally, share the podcast around as much as possible. If you've got a football fan in your life, send this podcast their way. They might appreciate it. Who knows? There's only one way to find out. Right, so now that it's back, let's get talking football, baby. Here we go. This is CookieCast, the football podcast.
Recording in progress.
Yes, indeed, ladies and gentlemen, recording is very much in progress. Welcome back. It's been a few weeks, but we are coming to you live, but on your feed, probably not live. Yes, football has happened, even though some of us would probably rather not talk about it ever again until things change. But yes, welcome in. Obviously, I'm here to give you your Middlesbrough FC breakdown, but I'm not alone. Bringing Hull City-based knowledge into your ear holes is Stuart Woodmansey. How are you, sir?
Oh, distinctly average. But I'm here.
Very nice. He had to really think about how he was there, ladies and gentlemen, which probably tells you all you need to know. Even though we'll get to that, and I'm pretty sure he should be the most content of the followers. Bringing us Nottingham Forest-based banter and updates is Mr. Matthew Moore. How are you, sir?
There's really an opportune moment to cough there. I'm good, thank you. It's not a cough of illness; it's a cough of post-CrossFit, dying slowly. So by the end of the podcast, I'll just be like Weekend at Bernie's kind of thing, like just prop him up in the corner there, and there he is. He's still there, we think.
Yes. What Mr. Moore has done there is he's potentially, mistakenly used a film that I have never seen, thinking that I possibly have seen that film. And as Andrew Cook will tell you, that is never ever the case. Is it, Mr. Cook?
I mean, I'm going to be honest with you. I've never seen it. I just know the reference and have seen clips. But,
I see.
I was about to produce Volume 1 A to Aardvark of films Paul's not seen, but I haven't got a big enough forklift to get it up into view. Weekend at Bernie's is a film, Paul.
Thank you.
It's when they're not kicking the ball. It's that other thing on the TV thing.
That is how I usually sort of differentiate what I'm watching on TV as to whether
does it have a ball? Yes, no, and then it goes into that graph thing.
Yeah, basically. Yeah.
No, have no interest.
For those of you listening along, those were the dulcet tones of Mr. Andrew Cook, who, for the first week or so of our podcast, was indeed bringing you Wrexham FC updates and information. However, due to the nature of this season's podcast and Mr. Cook adopting the winner stays on format, he is sadly no longer a Wrexham FC fan. He is now throwing his weight behind. Well, we'll tell you that later on. We'll get to that when we come to next week's predictions. So, obviously, we had to leave you in the lurch somewhat. In that 50% of the podcast was not going to be in the country for a prolonged period of time, sadly. But we are, myself and Mr. Woodmansey, we are back, ready to update you with all the goings on of our respective clubs. Well, better to start than by the incomings and outgoings, shall we say. I'll start us off with the Middlesbrough incomings and outgoings, and the biggest news of that is that all three of these gentlemen that you see before you, if you're watching on the YouTube, will have to reassess their Middlesbrough top goal scorer prediction, as last season's Middlesbrough and Championship top goal scorer Chuba Akpom is no longer a Middlesbrough FC player. He's no longer even playing in the Championship or in England at all. He has moved to Ajax of Amsterdam for an initial fee of 12 million euros, which could possibly rise to 15 million in future add-ons. It was pretty much common knowledge that Mr. Akpom was going into the last year of his contract. That was an extension that had been triggered during last season due to his good form. It was an automatic extension that could be triggered at any point by the club. They went ahead and did it, but he made it clear that he wasn't going to be signing a new deal. So when that became apparent, it was kind of obvious that the club was going to end up looking to move him on and try and get a fee for him rather than losing him for nothing in the summer next year. So sadly, he has moved on. I think it's a good deal for the club. Money in is better than losing the player for free. It does leave them short in certain areas of the attacking side of the pitch, which they did move quite swiftly to fill the void left by Mr. Akpom. And coffee lovers worldwide were in awe when Borough snapped up Emmanuel Latte Laugh for an initial sum of €5 million from Atalanta in Italy. Hopefully he will fill the void left by Mr. Tubes, and hopefully he'll hit the ground running as soon as possible.
I've heard he's a boiling hot player.
He's a smooth operator. Yes. Let's just hope he's full of beans.
These are going to grind really quickly.
Yeah, pretty much. But, strong. We want him to be strong.
Stop milking it.
Anyone got any more?
Hopefully he'll have a few shots.
Yay! Very good. Very good. He was not the only player joining the Borough at this particular time. They've brought in a new left back, which was a position they needed to strengthen, as the only fit left back at the club was Hayden Coulson. So they brought in Lucas Engel from Silkeborg IF in Denmark. I believe he was their player of the year last season, and some stats that a podcast that I follow on Twitter had, sorry, not Twitter, X, as it's now known, of course. They'd done a breakdown of his stats compared to last season's loanee Ryan Giles. Similar numbers for assists and goals, and apparently he does have greater numbers in tackles and things like that from a defensive side. So fingers crossed he'll be able to fill the hole that was left when Ryan Giles' loan expired. That's it from a Borough perspective. We'll go to Stu for the whole transfers. I've got it down that there's 1 out and 2 ins, if that's correct.
Yeah, that's what I have too. So it is sad news, everybody, because Tete is out. He's out of the door. He's gone to FC Metz in France for around 1.8 million euros. So if you get your calculators and work that out, it's not too shabby based on the fact that he spent most of last season either injured or headbutting people and getting himself banned for 3 games. So it was just a shame because he did link up pretty well with Oscar when he got to play, but I don't think we really saw the best of him. And then with the other business that's been done and the fact that the manager is now kind of working with a bit of a constraint financially, owners not wanting to get in trouble obviously for spending too much cash, etc., etc. It was one of the sort of necessary sort of moves, I guess, especially if he wasn't going to be playing regularly this season. So it's not the worst thing ever. But we do have 2 incomings. We have, which one do I go for first? Scott Twine, an attacking midfielder on a season-long loan from Burnley. Apparently a few clubs were after his signature. I mean, I'm pretty sure it says on every press release that Rossini's ever put out about a player that he's signed. But yeah, he's here for the season. Definitely an area that needed strengthening. Nice to have somebody other than Seri that'll be looking to get the ball forward, all being well. But the big one for the podcast, a Paul Williams favourite no less. Aaron Connolly, a name you may remember from last season, has now signed on a permanent 1-year deal. City had him on loan for a small period last year. I think it was January time we took him. Scored a few goals, kicked the end of his bed and broke his toe, and then was never to be seen again. However, now he has been seen again. We've got him on a 1-year deal. It's kind of a bit of shrewd business. The fee was undisclosed. There has been rumours, but officially it's an undisclosed fee. Bit shrewd though, because kind of saw glimpses of him last season, and probably didn't want to go too heavy on the length of the contract just in case. So he's pretty much got a season to prove himself, and yeah, 1-year deal. Already doing the business, but we will get to that momentarily, I should imagine.
Absolutely. That just leaves us with Nottingham Forest transfers. On this one, I've got just the one coming in.
Yes.
2 out permanently and 3 out on loan. I believe.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. So we've got Josh Bowler going to Cardiff on loan. Richie Larea going to Vancouver Whitecaps on a season-long loan. So they were ones that I think Richie Larea came in at the end of the season that we got promoted. It was just left back, and I think unfortunately you can't get rid of him. Josh Bowler, I think, was bought as a what if we get relegated, we'll need a team to kind of bring us back up kind of guy. Steve Cook has gone on it says free to QPR. I don't know whether there was a little bit of money handed over. I don't know, it's like undisclosed. I'm glad because we always say this, he's only 32, but it is a little bit getting on in your career, so he does need to be playing kind of thing. Brian Ojeda has gone to Salt Lake, whatever they put, for 3.6 million euros, which is a decent amount. He again signed that season that we got promoted and just never really managed to fit in.
Did he ever play? Because it's just a name I don't ever remember hearing.
He played a couple of times and looked decent, and then I think Cooper he just didn't really fit what Cooper wants. Speaking of which, Gustavo Scarpa, who this is the one that's annoyed me, because he's not had a chance to play for Forest, and for whatever reason Cooper don't fancy him. But when you're the best player in the Brazilian league, then you've won the best player in the Brazilian league, you must be a decent player. And they just sent him out on loan to the parent club, sister club, ugly sister that kind of thing club, on loan for a season. I'm sure there's some shenanigans with money, because whenever I listen to any Forest podcast or anything like that, financial fair play comes up all the time, and we don't want to end up like Wolves and all this kind of thing. So now this is where I kind of think. So obviously, we've got the one transfer in, Matt Turner from Arsenal for 7 million, possibly rising to 10. Obviously, we talked about it last year. The person running the club, like the sports director, was changed, and we got a guy from Rangers. Now, I don't want to kind of cast people with aspersions, but, tight Scotsman, because what it sounds like is we've gone around lowballing people all summer for decent players that people won and gone, oh, we don't know why we're not signing anybody. Because you're trying to sign a £30 million player for 17 million. Don't work like that. So this week, one of the guys that spent that buttload of money last summer is now back in the fold. Oh, and shock horror, there's loads of rumours and possible signings in the next couple of days because, we're stumping up the cash for players. What a shock, kind of thing. So, yeah, one player in, Matt Turner. He's looked really good. But, yeah, so one person in, 5 out. But probably we'll finish the podcast and there'll be another one announced because I think there's a Argentine right back who scored the winning penalty in the World Cup against France, who is, I think, literally possibly signing the papers right now.
Interesting. So, that's your sort of transfer ins and outs. We'll have another couple of weeks of this until the transfer window officially closes on the 31st of August, 1st of September. And then, obviously, it's as you are until January. So that's your transfer business done and dusted. We're going to take a short commercial, or possibly even commercial free, I don't know where we're at with that, break, and then we'll get into the games that took place whilst myself and Mr. Woodmansey were out of the country. So don't touch that dial, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be right back.
Recording in progress.
Yes, indeed. Like we said, don't touch that dial, as we are indeed right back. So, like we said, a lot of games have taken place since the start of the season. Obviously, the main thing we need to sort of address is the fact that we've adopted this approach for Andy's team, as it were, that he started off on Wrexham, but it would change with the first team to beat them would then become Andy's team, and so on and so forth. Obviously, to remind people, we did actually put in a guess of how many times during the season that Mr. Cook would change team. So far, the lowest person that suggested was Matt with 14. Andy himself selected 16. I with 18 and Stuart with 21. So, at the end of week 3, going into week 4, which is the current week, I'll just give an update of where we're at with the amount of times that said team has changed. So, because there's so many games to get through, we're not going to give any sort of breakdown of what's gone on in the games. I'm just going to give the score, the scorers, and then the points that we've each got. So we started off the season with Middlesbrough versus Millwall. We all went for a Middlesbrough win in this one. Varying different degrees of scorers. I'd gone for Fours, McGree for the Borough. Stuart had gone for Jones for the Borough. Matt had gone for McGree and Fours. Andy had gone with Fours. Only Matt was the only person to pick a Millwall goal in this one with Watmore. And it was a 1-0 Millwall win with Esse scoring the goal. So no points across the board there. Swiftly moving on to our second game of week 1. Saw Norwich City take on Hull. I'd gone for a Hull win. Andy had gone for a Hull win, both with Estepinian to score. Stuart had gone for a 1-1 draw with Barnes and Delap to score. Matt had gone for a 2-1 Norwich win with Sargent and Barnes to score for Norwich and Estepinian to score for Hull. The game finished 2-1 to Norwich City, so Matt gets himself the first 2 points for the first correct score of the season. Sadly, his goal scorers did not get on the score sheet, as Rowe and Eder were the goal scorers for Norwich, with Delap scoring for Hull. So Stu gets himself off the mark with a point in that game. Andy's team's first game of the season saw Wrexham take on MK Dons, and oh dear, this one ended 3-5. So a 5-3 opening day win for MK Dons. Sadly, none of us have picked an MK Dons win. The closest was Stu with a 1-1 draw. I'd gone 2-0. Andy had gone 2-0. Matt had gone 1-0. I'd picked Lee and Palmer. Everyone else had just picked Palmer to score for Wrexham. whereas Stu with his 1-1 draw had gone for Isa to score for MK Dons, which was a correct scorer. Mendy, Davies and Ford got the goals for Wrexham. O'Connell with an own goal. Isa, Lecco got 2, and Harvey got the other goals for MK Dons. Now that kind of scuppered us in the fact that we then should have technically changed the next game to be the MK Dons game, but obviously because we predicted the games far enough in advance, we'll just keep going at this particular time with the Wrexham games. So we move to the second games of the week, and these are all cup games. So we had Huddersfield Town taking on Middlesbrough. Three of us had gone for 1-0 Middlesbrough win. Three of us had gone for 1-0 Huddersfield wins on these. I'd gone 1-0 with Karoma to score. Stu 1-0 Rhodes to score. Matt 1-0 Simpson to score. Andy had gone for 2-0 Borough with Hoppy and Fours to get the goals. It finished 2-3, so Middlesbrough progressing into the second round of the cup on this one. Harriet and Hudlin got the goals for Huddersfield. Silvera, Jones and McGree got the goals for the Borough. So Andy gets off the mark for the season with a point for the correct result, but not the correct score, sadly. No goal scorer points in that one. The next game was Hull versus Doncaster Rovers. Myself and Matt had gone for a 2-1 Hull win. Sadly, we didn't get the goal scorer for Estupiñán, so no points there. No one had picked the goal scorer from Doncaster Rovers on any predictions. Andy had gone for a 1-1 draw, and Stuart had gone for a 1-2, so a Doncaster 2-1 win, which was indeed the bang-on correct result. So he gets himself 2 points for that. Like I said, no one had any goal scorers in this one, so Estupiñán got the goal for Hull, and there was a 2 for Miller from a Doncaster perspective. Final game of the week took place in the Cup, and it was Wrexham versus Wigan. Myself and Andy had gone for 1-0 wins for Wrexham, with Lee and Palmer to score. Stu and Matt had gone for 1-0 Wigan predictions, with McGuinness and Blake to score. So, of course, the game finished 0-0, went to penalties, and Wrexham progressed. So, no points across the board there, as there was no goals, and no one predicted a draw after 90 minutes. So, for those keeping score at home, after 6 games where an awful lot of goals were scored, I managed to get neither a result nor a goal scorer correct. So I start the season on 0 points from 6 games predicted. I think I should probably get a bonus point there for being so far off the mark.
No, you get a minus point, an extra minus point.
Probably, yeah. It should be like -8 or something like that. Andy had 1 point from the first 6 games. Matt 2, but winning the first week was Stuart Woodmansey with 4 points from the 6 games.
Winning the week, I predicted my own team to lose 2-1 in the cup.
Always a bonus. We move into week 2's predictions, where this brought in Nottingham Forest for their first game of the season. They were away at Arsenal, and sadly, they succumbed to a 2-1 defeat. Nketiah and Saka scoring the goals for Arsenal, and Owonyi getting the goal for Forest. Myself, Stu and Matt had all predicted Arsenal wins, 2-0 and 3-1 respectively. Andy had gone for a 1-1 draw. Matt and Andy both had Saka down to score goals, so get themselves a point there. And they also had Owonyi to score for Forest, so they actually get 2 points there. So myself and Stu, a point for the correct score. And Matt gets himself 3 points for the correct result and 2 correct goal scorers. So well done, Matt. Our next game of the week saw Coventry City take on Middlesbrough, and it's a good thing we're not breaking down this game because, oh my, I believe I could do about 45 minutes just on how poor Middlesbrough were in this game. It finished 3-0 to Coventry, goals from Godden, Wright, and an own goal from Darragh Lenihan. No one had picked a Coventry win. I'd gone 3-0 Borough, so I got the correct goals, but not in the correct order. That's funny. Stuart had gone for a 1-0 win. Andy had gone for a 1-0 win. Matt had gone for a 1-1 draw, but had picked Godden to score. So gets himself a bonus point there. Third game of the week saw Hull take on Sheffield Wednesday. This one finished 4-2 to Hull, with Ozan Tufan bagging a hat-trick and a first goal of the season for the aforementioned loanee turned permanent signing, Aaron Connolly.
There he goes.
It turns out that blonde-haired pigs do indeed fly. The 2 goals for Sheffield Wednesday were scored by Delgado and Smith. Predictions-wise, I'd gone for a 1-1 draw, as had Matt. We didn't have any of the goal scorers there, so sadly no points. Andy had gone for a 0-0 draw, no points there. Stuart gone for a 2-0 Hull win, with Delap and Estepinian to score the goal, so just gets himself a bonus point there for the correct result. Our last game of the week, I tell you right, it's not our last game of the week, as Wrexham had double duty. Our second to last game of the week saw AFC Wimbledon take on Wrexham. This one finishes the 1-1 draw, with Tilly scoring the goal for Wimbledon and Lee getting the goal for Wrexham. I'd gone for a 0-0 draw, so I managed to get myself a point there. Stuart gone for a 2-1 Wrexham win. Sadly didn't have any of the goal scorers. Andy had gone for a 2-0 Wrexham win. Sadly had neither of the goal scorers. Matt had gone for a 1-0 win with Lee to get the goal, so he gets himself a point for the bonus goal scorer. And our final game of the week saw Wrexham take on Walsall. This was a 4-2 win for Wrexham, with Boyle, Palmer, Bickerstaff and Lee getting the goals. Hussey and a Ford own goal from Walsall's perspective were their 2 goals. We'd all picked a Wrexham win, so we all get a point there. I had Palmer to score, so get a bonus point. Stu had Lee and Palmer to score, as had Matt, so they both get 3 points for that one. Andy had got 1-0 with Waters to score, so just the 1 point for Andy there. So, finished off week 2, Andy had 3 points from 5 games. I somehow miraculously managed to pick actual correct results at 1 point, so I managed to get myself 4 points from 5 games. Stuart had gone 5 from 5. Matt with a whopping 8 points from 5 games wins that particular week. We're getting close to the current time, ladies and gentlemen. So, week 3 predictions. Nottingham Forest took on Sheffield United. They had a 2-1 win, with Awonyi and Wood getting the goals for Forest. Gustavo Hamer on debut for Sheffield United getting the reply there. Stuart gone for a 1-0 home win with Awonyi to score, gets himself 2 points. Andy had gone for a 1-0 home win with Johnson to score, so just the 1 point for Andy there. Both myself and Matt had gone for 2-1 Forest wins, so we get 2 points for that. I had Gibbs White and Awonyi, as did Matt, so we get a bonus point for a goal scorer there, so 3 points each for myself and Matt. Blackburn Rovers took on Hull City, and it was a 2-1 away win on this one. Gallagher getting the goal for Blackburn. And I don't know how he's done it, ladies and gentlemen, but Aaron Connolly pops up with not 1, but 2 goals in the same game. He must be high as a kite. In fact, he probably should have been drug tested, let's be honest. As it's unfathomable that he managed to get 1, let alone 2 in the same game.
I think if he keeps scoring, somebody's going to have to drug test Paul just to make sure he's not OD'd on anything.
I'm not going to lie, it's very possible. Let's not beat around the bush. So, I had a 1-1 draw for this one, so I was close to getting 2 points there, but old Aaron just had to score again, didn't he? The cheeky young scamp. I had Ennis and Delap to score the goals, so sadly no points for me. Stuart gone for a 1-0 home win with Smodix to score, so no points for him, sadly. Matt and Andy had both picked 2-1 wins. Gallagher and Smodix to score the goals for Blackburn, with 2 fans to score for Hull, so Matt gets himself a bonus point for the Gallagher goal. Andy had gone for Gallagher and Bale, and Estepinian to score for Hull, so also gets himself a bonus point there. page turned. I certainly can. Our third game of the week saw Middlesbrough take on Huddersfield, which sounds odd as they just played them in the Cup the week before. This one finished 1-1, where Middlesbrough somehow managed to score both the goals and not win. First goal of the season for Hayden Hackney, and a Dale Fry own goal settled this one. Sadly, none of us had picked a draw in this one. I'd gone for a 2-0 home win with Rodgers and Gilbert to score for the Borough. Stuart gone 3-1, Jones, Crooks and Fours to score for Borough, Ward to score for Huddersfield. Matt had gone 2-1 Borough, Jones and Fours to score for Borough, and Hudlin to score for Huddersfield. Andy had also gone for a 2-0 win with Silvera and Fours to score the goals for the Borough, so no points for that game there. Last game of the week saw Wrexham take on Swindon, and this one was absolutely crazy as it finished 5-5, and I believe Wrexham were as much as 5-3 down in the 90th minute. So quite the comeback yet again. Goal scorers, strap in, ladies and gentlemen. Bickerstaff, Lee twice, Jones twice for Wrexham. Swindon, Young with 2. Charlie Austin getting a goal. And ex-Hartlepool United loanee Dan Kemp getting the other 2 for Swindon. In a game with 6 different goal scorers, between us, we managed to get 1 point. Stu picking Lee to get the goal. So Stu gets the bonus point there, as none of us got any of the goal scorers. Absolutely ridiculous. So, from 4 games, Andy picks up 2 points. Myself and Stu both picked up 3 points, but getting another win for the second week in a row. It is Matt, ladies and gentlemen, with 4 points from 4 games. There you are, ladies and gentlemen. Quick, snappy, giving you the information you need. Don't worry, next week we'll be back to sort of breaking down the games a little bit more as there's less to go through. So, week 4's prediction.
I mean, you say that, Paul, there's a hefty chunk of predictions.
Well, there's 5 games to go through, 6 games to go through, 7 games.
I was going to say, I've got 7, so...
I just kept adding one on. It's fine. Just don't worry about it. So, week 4, we begin in Hull, with them taking on Bristol City. Obviously, it's Mr. Woodmansey's team. I believe he will be in attendance for said game, so we'll be able to very much break this one down for us. He will give his prediction last. I'll jump in straight away. I've gone for a 2-1 home win here. I've gone for Delap and Tufan to score for Hull, Cornick to score for Bristol City. Matt, what have you got for this one?
I've gone also for a Hull 2-1 win.
Mm-hmm.
With Connolly and Tufan.
Foolish.
And Knight to score for Bristol City.
Andy?
1-0 to Hull. Sayara Manesh to score.
Go on then, Mr. Woodmansey. What are we hoping for? Or, well, that's one question. What are you predicting is the other?
I mean, clearly I'd be hoping for some sort of 6-0 drubbing. But I can't really see it happening. I don't know. Bristol are one of them teams for us where we either sneak one or get beaten. So I thought, do you know what? Let's go in the middle. So I've gone for a 1-1 draw.
This, of course, a repeat of the 2008 Championship playoff final that saw Hull go up into the promised land of the Premier Division for the first time. Goal scorers, please.
I've gone for Delap for Hull and James for Bristol.
Very, very nice. Friday swiftly turns to Saturday. We travel to Lancashire, Manchester, Greater Manchester, where Manchester United take on Nottingham Forest. Matt's team, you will go last, of course. I'll jump in straight away on this one. I've gone for a 1-1 draw here. Man United have not started the season very well. They kind of stole 3 points from Wolves and then capitulated to manage to lose to Spurs, of all teams, at the weekend, 2-0. So
I believe that the Paddy Power coverage says was that Manchester United outspursed Spurs. Was how good they were.
It's a pretty accurate statement. I'm not gonna lie. My goal scorer in this one, I've gone for Fernandes to score for Man United. Gibbs White to get the response for Forest. Stu, what have you gone for in this one?
Unfortunately, I have got a 1-0 Manchester United win. I've gone for Fernandes, based as he is the chief penalty taker as well, so that kind of tells you what you need to know about that one.
That was my thought process on that one. Andy?
1-1 draw. Rashford and Wood.
Coming off the back of his last-minute heroics from last week, eh? You sly dog, you. Go on then, Matt. How's it going to pan out?
All way too optimistic. I'm going for a Man United 3-1 win. I think there'll be massive changes. I think Ten Hag will be kind of giving a right kick up the arse kind of thing. And Forest don't do very well against Man United. You know, let's all go back to 8-1 and Ron Atkinson sitting in the wrong dugout. And that was at the City Ground, folks. So I've gone Anthony, Rashford and Ericsson. Everybody's made the classic mistake. Old boy rule, Alanga.
Do you reckon he'll start? I mean, that's
no, he won't start.
But...
He hasn't started so far. He comes on with about 20 minutes to go and just runs riot. Would be the kind of thing. He's good. I wasn't sure about the signing, but he is.
I was going to say, whilst I didn't see the game against Arsenal, it sounded like he got some good plaudits for when he came on and set up the goal.
I mean, the goal was mental because Awoniyi took it down, passed it to him, then set off, and he's like a good 6 foot on and was like galloping, and he just balled and just went, and I was like, whoa, okay then. And you could see Awoniyi be like, Jesus Christ, mate, you need to slow down a little bit because I can't keep up with you, kind of thing, to get to the place to score the goal. But yeah, he's really, really quick.
Very nice. Our third game of the week takes us back into the Championship and to my other half sort of area of the country, where it's West Bromwich Albion taking on Middlesbrough. Obviously, it's my team, so I will give my prediction last. Let's go to Andy for his prediction on this
one. I've got Borough delivering an absolute thumping to West Brom with a 2-0 win. For a man that's just finished off a second coffee this evening, I'm absolutely picking Latte to score. And I've got Silvera to get the other one.
First of the season for Latte Lass. Very, very nice. One thing I did forget to give in the transfer roundup was that Matthew Hoppy has joined a team in the United States on a season-long loan, and it's escaping me where he's gone now. So don't be picking Hoppy to score for the Borough lads during the course of the season, because he ain't there. Stu, what have you got for this one?
Unfortunately for you, Mr. Williams, and unfortunately also for your better half, I'm rolling out the 0-0 draw.
Oh! Get your pie hats on, ladies and gentlemen. It's going to be a thriller. Matt?
I've also gone for keeping the peace in the Williams household as well, but I've gone for a 1-1 draw with Thomas Asante for WBA, and never called that ever. And Latte Laugh for the Borough.
You look like you were going to say something there, Stu. So I'll let you have your moment. Go on.
No, it's just purely because of, unfortunately, again, as we've alluded to earlier, mine was more for the fact that Borough haven't exactly set the world on fire just yet, and West Brom have managed to level off on their goal difference. So I just thought that's the only reason I picked the 0-0. That's all I was going to say.
I think you're all being very, very optimistic. We don't usually do that well against the Baggies. An Ashley Fletcher wonder strike and a Britta Sombolonga bundled-in winner aside in the last couple of years, I think we will lose this one 1-0 with a goal from Josh Madger to further prolong our stay in the Championship's bottom three. Sadly.
Can we just have a moment of appreciation for Britta Sombolonga's name being rolled out in this podcast?
Yeah. Do.
Oh.
You never know. You might end up hearing his name a lot more, because I don't even know if he's got a team or if he's still technically at Watford. But all that needs to happen is he just needs to sign for Hull, and then he's the latest in the has played for all three clubs member. So keep it tuned here, ladies and gentlemen. If he signs, you will of course be the first. So game 4 of the week sees Andy's latest team take on Blackpool. Now, Andy's latest team is Lincoln City. Now, let me just explain how we got to Lincoln City. So, Wrexham, first game of the season, they were beaten by MK Dons. So, winner stays on format, MK Dons becomes the team. They were then beaten in the League Cup by Wycombe. The very next game, they then lost to Lincoln City. Lincoln have yet to lose since they defeated Wycombe. So Lincoln are our 4th team of the season, but they are our 3rd. So it's our 3rd change of team, if you will. But it is team 4 of the season. So Andy's been to the tattooist. He's got his Lincoln City imp tattooed on him. He's fully throwing his support behind the boys. We'll go to him as it's his team for his prediction last. I'll jump in. I've gone for a 1-0 win for the imps with Udo to get the goal. Stu?
I've got a Lincoln City 2-1 win with Hackett, Fairchild and Walker for Lincoln, and then Lavery for Blackpool.
Hackett Fairchild, of course, the latest in the long list of if your child asks to have his name put on the back of his or her shirt, you immediately cry. Who was your second goal scorer? Walker.
Walker, yeah.
And for Blackpool?
Lavery.
Very, very nice. Matt?
I've also gone for a 2-1 Lincoln win. Hackett Fairchild as well. Sorensen for Lincoln City, and Beasley for Blackpool.
Beasley. Go on then, Andrew. You've supported them for pretty much all of your life. Stroke the last 10 seconds. How are your boys in red and white going to get on this week?
So it's a 1-0 win.
Of course.
With Hackett scoring.
Now I didn't quite catch that.
Hackett.
Hackett Fairchild.
Yes.
Popular name on the podcast this week. Obviously, if he does score, I'm assuming that we're going to have to buy Andy a shirt with it printed on the back. Yeah.
It'll have to be a long sleeve one.
That's what we might have to do at the end of the season. Depending on the team that he's ended up with, we might have to just get him a shirt so that to start next season, that's his team, and hopefully they just never lose. Okay. 4 games left. 3 games left. Sorry, Stu. I thought you had a game. I did you over there.
It's terrible.
I forgot that your team was terrible. It couldn't be.
I will take my 2 points and current league position, Mr. Williams. Thank you very much.
Oh, we do like to laugh. So, League Cup, first fixture. Bolton Wanderers versus Middlesbrough. Tickets
Where
are
are you playing?
Hey?
Where are you
yes.
playing?
This game takes place at the infamous Tough Sheet Stadium, said with absolutely no tongue-in-cheek whatsoever. And tickets for this are only £10. So if I can get my act together, I might take in a bit of the Tough Sheet. It's only 90 minutes in the car. My team, I'll go last. Andy, what have you got for this one?
A Borough 2-0 win for you to be there in person to enjoy it.
Goal scorers?
Fours and getting yet another goal and cementing himself as the podcast favourite, Latte.
He'll probably need coffee at this point to keep up with all these goals that you'll be banging. Matt,
I've gone for a Borough 2-1 win.
Yeah.
Boyo at Malton, and McCree and Crooks. I think they might change it up a little bit.
Yeah, won't be surprised to see that at all. Stu?
I'm just still smiling for the fact that you went, it's only 90 minutes in the car, then failed to then add on, but could be the longest 90 minutes of your life following, and then another 90 minutes back home again. I've gone for a 1-0 Borough win, however, having said that, and I've gone for Force to score.
Bloody hell. Mark the calendar, ladies and gentlemen. Stu picking fours.
So if you pick Connolly for a game, then people like the listeners will know to just call the police and send them. So
yeah. I've
all of the boxes have been ticked.
Yeah, me and you have obviously been making predictions under duress and whatnot. Next game sees Nottingham Forest taking on Burnley. Mr. Moore's team, so he will go last. I'll jump straight in here. I've gone for a 1-0 home win with a Wonyi to score. Stu?
I've got 1-1. So I've got Forrest Johnson to score and Berg for Burnley.
I think I just realised I didn't give my Borough prediction.
Oh well. 0-0 then, yeah?
2-0. Latte, Lath and Rogers. Even though I did say off camera that Rogers looks less than convincing, shall we say. Matt, no, it's your team. Andy, what have you got for this one?
Exactly what you've predicted.
1-0 Awonyi.
Correct.
Lovely stuff. Matt?
You not done this?
Yes, Stu's gone 1-1, Johnson and Berg.
I've gone for a 2-1 Burnley win.
Ooh.
I think it'll be lots of reserves out and stuff like that. Wood for Forest, old boy rule.
Oh yeah, of course.
And Redmond and Manuel.
Benson Manuel.
Yeah.
I believe he was on loan at him last season. Or he might have been permanent, but he looked quite good. I quite like that. Our last game of the week sees Sheffield United taking on Andy's boys, Lincoln City. I've gone for a 2-1 Sheffield United win in this one, so sadly Andy is going to have to throw his support behind the Blades for at least a portion of time, if I am correct. If I am correct, then he's obviously never going to be speaking to Mr. Panas ever again, as Panas cannot stand the Blades. I've gone 2-1. Hamer and Traore to score for Sheffield United. Hackett Fairchild, podcast favourite, to score for Lincoln. Stu?
A couple of things. I've gone for 2-0 to Sheffield United. I've gone for Hackford and Basham, purely from the old school wrestling connection. I did point out on the last podcast we did about how quickly it would be that Andy would end up being a Man City fan. If Sheffield United do win this game, he will miss that by one game, as Sheffield United play Manchester City the game before Lincoln. Also, does Andy just get a red and white shirt generic?
Well, he couldn't go further wrong. He couldn't go much wrong. Sorry, who was your other player that you said for Sheffield United?
Basham.
And?
Hackford.
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 Never heard of him, mate.
Well, you will when he scores.
Matt.
I've also gone for a Sheffield United 2-1 win. Davis and Brooks. And Bishop for Lincoln City.
Tom Davies and Andre Brooks. Sorry, who was your Lincoln goal scorer?
Bishop.
Last prediction of the week, Andy. Go on, give us your thoughts.
1-0 Lincoln win.
There he is. This guy never changes.
Walker, Texas Ranger.
Walker, Texas Ranger, to bag the goal. There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. That brings us to the end of a fraught week in the podcast. Apologies, it's taken us a while to get back to you, but we are now here for the foreseeable. And that should be us for the rest of the season. Now we'll be back with you next week to break down the games we've just predicted. Maybe give you a little bit of insight into each game. Hopefully we'll be able to do that for you moving forward this season. All that's left for me to do is to thank these three wonderful gentlemen for joining me again to break down the happenings of their team and to commiserate me with the shenanigans that are going on at mine. For another week then. Until then, we will see you very shortly. Goodbye, ladies and gentlemen.
So there we go. What do you think to that? Football's back. Again. Yeah, you get what I mean, don't you? Join us next week when we're talking about the games that we've predicted this week, and we'll be talking new games. That's the right. New games. Before you go, don't forget to click the subscribe button, click a like while you're there, share the podcast around, leave a review, and if you're interested in getting in touch with the guys, jump over to the website, thecookiecast.com, click the email button. There's some social media links there as well. Various different ways for you to get in touch with us. Open a dialogue, see where it leads. That's it for this one. Until next time, I'm going to say bye, and I'll see you then.
Thank you for listening to these grumpy old men talk about football. If you've enjoyed this episode, please like, share and subscribe.